What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dumb coming back at you another True Players podcast episode as we, big NFL draft day that happened starting Thursday night. A lot of surprise from that draft class, and it's the one biggest surprise is Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to go right into it, guys. Shedeur Sanders was picked in the 5th round, 144th pick in the draft. Now, this is a guy, through all the experts, was a top 5 draft pick. Top 5. Teams that needed a quarterback, such as the Giants, the New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns. Well, the Cleveland Browns didn't really need a quarterback, but I'll get to that a little later. There was other teams that needed quarterbacks and selected different quarterbacks. And then now the rumors started happening that he was arrogant during his interviews with teams. He wasn't prepared in one of the interviews, I believe, with the Giants, which, I'm going to put to you straight. The day the Giants draft a black quarterback will be the first time. So I can't take any merit about what the Giants would be saying during that interview, despite what people have been posting on the despite what people are posting on social media or what have you. But this is the situation. Shedeur Sanders comes from a Hall of Fame football player parent. Okay? He doesn't come from the streets. He doesn't come from a broken home. He comes from a home in which he had his father, who was his coach in college in both Jackson State and Colorado. Coaching him, being a father to him, teaching him the right things in life, how to pursue, how to go about things. And for some reason, the powers that be who go through these things of picking their players, they say he's arrogant. They say he's full of himself. They say he's privileged. But he's playing football for the love of the game. He wants to be the best in the sport as he can be. Doesn't matter his background. You know what I'm saying? I just feel that there's times where people think that just because a black man comes from a two-parent home or a very high middle-class home, all of a sudden they think he's privileged to that extent, which is not always the case. It's really not always the case. It just boggles my mind how perception in this world could damage someone's reputation. Just perception. Haven't spoken to him. You already come with a preconceived thought process on that person, and you're gonna run with it. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Cleveland, they were on. He was on their board. He met numerous times with the Cleveland Browns throughout the process. Met numerous times with the New York Giants. The Giants traded back into the first round and selected Jackson Dart. After they made their first choice with the edge rusher, which I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the New York Jets and New York Giants draft picks in a few minutes, guys. So just give me an opportunity to get this out about Shedeur Sanders. The thing is, though, can I take what the teams are saying? His interview was bad to heart. I really can't. It is what it is. Cam Ward went to the Tennessee Titans. That was a good pick. They needed a quarterback. But like I said, Shedeur Sanders was a top 5 pick. Is a top 5 pick, and where Cleveland picked him, they picked him in a good draft pick only because it saves them money. They got so much money tied up in the quarterback position from Deshaun Watson, Flacco, Kenny Pickett. You got all these quarterbacks on this team who are capable of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. Deshaun Watson is not going to come back this season. He's still recovering from the Achilles tendon injury, which he injured for the second time. Plus, he wasn't even following rehab properly. That's why he probably popped his Achilles again. But there's a lot of quarterbacks in that Cleveland locker room now, and Cleveland's going to have to make a decision out of one of these quarterbacks. Everything I'm saying from Mel Kiper and through other experts, Louis Riddick, who I felt should have been given an opportunity to be a GM again. This Shedeur Sanders knows how to read coverage. He played with a horrible offensive line over there in Colorado. He's dealt with adversity. He's dealt with things that no other player has dealt with in this draft. His teammate was selected by the Jaguars, which was they traded to get him. So it just pisses me off how perception could just screw up somebody's reputation. And instead of looking at people from their own standpoint, by just meeting them for the first time, you already base off perception. Now, if you got a problem with his father and how his father how his father acts, and in all due respect, Deion Sanders is nothing but of a professional. He's a black man who is sure of himself, and that bothers people. When you're a black man and you're sure of yourself, you're confident in yourself, it bothers a lot of people. I've dealt with it through past employment. People tell me to shut up. Don't keep your mouth shut. Don't bring no attention to it. Don't shut up. They give it a look, tell you to shut up. But if something's wrong, it's wrong. If something's right, it's right. Period. So that's my take on this. It's bad. It happens all the time. They gave him the Kaepernick treatment until Cleveland's like, what the hell with this? We're going to draft him. We're going to draft him. So, Shedeur Sanders, I hope you prove everybody wrong. Listen, the greatest quarterbacks came in the later rounds. Not in the first round. Came in the later rounds. Tom Brady was the fifth round pick. Won, 7 or 8 Super Bowls? Considered the GOAT. Russell Wilson drafted in the third round. Got a Super Bowl ring. I can go on and on. Boomer Esiason, who was slated to be drafted in the first round, we got selected in the second round, and NFL MVP. So, Shedeur can definitely change the minds of a lot of people and prove his worth, and then have all the teams look stupid. I don't know why the Giants did not choose him, but looking at like I said earlier, looking at the Giants' history, they don't draft black quarterbacks. I'm gonna go as far as to say that Bob McAdoo lost his job when he benched Eli Manning for Geno Smith. They're gonna fire his ass when that happened. They made that decision. Matt support with the NFL. Matt support from the fans for Shedeur Sanders. His mother, celebrated with him. Was along with his brother Shiloh. Matt endorsement deals for him. He's gonna make some good money. I'll tell you that much. He's gonna make some good money off endorsements. So don't worry. Shedeur Sanders is in a great place. So now let's go back. Let's go to the New York teams here in their draft. The Giants, from my standpoint, for what I've saw from the Giants this past season, their needs was offensive line. Their needs was cornerback. Their needs was more the defensive linemen to help out with Dexter Lawrence. So they definitely added another edge rusher to go with Kayvon Thibodeau, and with Abdul Carter from Penn State. They say he's going to make an immediate impact. So let's see what happens. The so-called experts have been wrong before. So they say he's going to make an impact. We'll see. They chose, they traded up, like I said, they traded up Back to the first round of the draft, Jackson Dart needed a quarterback, but now the quarterback room is filled now. Does Tommy DeVito survive this? That's the question. You know, Tommy Cut was it really call him Tommy Cutlets or some shit like that? His nickname, I forgot. But now you got Russell Wilson, who's definitely going to be the starter. You got Jameis Winston, who's going to battle him for the starting job and fighting for his career. You got Tommy DeVito. Now you got Jackson Dart in that room, who could possibly be the Giants' franchise quarterback. But they're going to do it right this time. He's not going to start right away. He's going to sit on the bench, learn and be redshirted for 1 year, absorb the pressure of being a quarterback in New York through Russell Wilson or even Jameis Wilson, whoever starts. He's going to learn from the veteran quarterback. Sit back and watch and understand defenses. And this is the way all quarterbacks, especially when you come into the New York market, has to be treated when you come into the New York market. The New York market is different than any other market in the NFL. If you come in as number 2 pick, the bright lights is on you all the time. The minute you throw in that first interception, oh, he's a bust. The minute that happens, 4 or 5 newspapers next morning will call you a bust. And I'm telling you guys, it's real. So they're doing the right thing with the kid, Jackson Dart, having him come off the bench, and learn for the first season, redshirt him, and then go from there. The Giants did fill a hole. They drafted Darius Alexander later in the draft. They got Cams Scatebo from Arizona State. Definitely, they got the offensive line. And definitely got a cornerback, Corey Black, and a tight end to fill in that hole in their offense. I believe the Giants are in a tough division. NFC East is a very tough division. I can't guarantee them going to the playoffs this coming season. Can't guarantee that. You got the defending world champions there. You got Washington, who made a gigantic leap under Dan Quinn. They're going to be the top 2 teams in the NFC East. And you got the Cowboys, the Giants. Cowboys got my old offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, to be the head coach. I say that because I felt, he should never have left the Jets when he left with Rex Ryan. But I thought it was a decent offensive coordinator considering what he had with that team with Mark Sanchez and Kachuri and Braylon and Santonio Holmes. He did a pretty good job with them, and he had the great running game to go with it. But we'll see what happens, right? And also, let's talk about the undrafted free agents that the Giants picked up as well. They bring in a slew of wide receivers in the undrafted free agents. Antoine Wells from Ole Miss, Bo Collins from Notre Dame, Dalen Cambray from Louisiana, and Daquan Felton from Virginia Tech to round that out. They really went crazy with the offensive side of the football with wide receivers and tight ends, and also some undrafted cornerbacks as well. Positions of need for them. That definitely would create a lot of depth for the New York Giants. And let's see what happens. Daboll's job's on the line. Shane's job is on the line. So they got to do what's necessary to save their jobs. They got to do whatever is necessary. Now, let's go to my New York Jets, my beloved New York Jets. Aaron Glenn, Darren Moogie, there was some stuff that I wish I had the time to do a podcast episode about the prelim to this situation with Aaron Rodgers, being upset that they told him to hop on a plane and then tell me they didn't want to be on the team anymore. A lot of people had a lot to say about that. A lot of fans had a lot to say about that. Oh, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Oh, he's this and that. But truth and be all, as great as a quarterback he is, he's a diva. And when your new head coach, comes to ask you, do you want to play football? And the answer is, I'm interested, I'm going to show you the door. It's either you're committed or you're not committed. Don't tell me you're interested. That's why a lot of dumb fans in the Jets community fail to miss. Every time I'm starting to, I'm true. I don't know if I said this in my previous episode. I believe there's a large percentage of Jet fans who are racist. They don't want to see a black coach succeed in the New York Jets. I still believe that. They say Aaron Glenn's going to be a 2-year and done head coach. He's going to fail. Why would you, for a team that you root for, hope that the new coach fails? Why would you do that? Don't you want your team to win? The team has not been in the playoffs since when? 2020. That's a long time. 2010. I'm sorry. They went 2009 and 2010. 2010. Been 15 years. The last time they had a winning record was with a black head coach. With Todd Bowles, who went 10-6. Didn't make the playoffs, but he went 10-6 in his first season as head coach. But you want to attack the head coach because you think he cut a Hall of Fame quarterback who told him he was interested in playing? They say he wanted to play for the Jets. He told him he was interested. Key word, interested. When someone tells you that, you got to show them the door. Sorry, but not sorry. We ain't playing that. Aaron Glenn comes from that Parcells tree. He played for Parcells. So he gets a lot of advice from Bill Parcells about how to go about things as being a head coach. So you got to respect that. Let's get to their draft picks, which they finally, hopefully with this draft pick at number 7, Armand Membo will now seal off, solidify that offensive line that's needed for Justin Fields. Hopefully it solidifies that. The Jets are banking on Justin Fields resurrecting his career and being the franchise quarterback he was drafted to be when the Bears drafted him. I think they drafted him like 12. This guy's supposed to be the number top 3 quarterback in that draft. That we took Zach Wilson. Yeah, the fans was in love with his cross the body 35-yard bomb in the combines. How did that work out? I'll wait. But hopefully, with this right tackle, they solidified the offensive line. This team is going to be ground and pound, and defense. The only thing I didn't like what Aaron Glenn said is that he was going to do a running back by committee, which is kind of peculiar considering that Breece Hall is in his contract year. Even though they picked up the 5th-year option, he is eligible for an extension, which is kind of dubious to say that you're going to have him do a running back by committee. Listen, running back committees does work. Didn't Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw didn't one of them have 1,000 yards in that system, and the other one almost had 1,000 yards? But I want to make sure. The thing is, if you're going to take carries away from Breece Hall, are you going to be able to utilize him in the passing game more? Put him in the slot, put him on the outside, and do some things to confuse the defense. That's what I'm looking to see. That's what I'm going to be looking to see. Now they drafted a tight end, Mason Taylor. Now, a lot of fans wanted Tyler Warren. They wanted Warren. But with this second-round pick, Mason Taylor, the son of Jason Taylor, was chosen in the second round, number 42 pick. Hopefully, he will develop into a Pro Bowl tight end. He has great attributes. He's a reliable tight end, pass-catching tight end. He could block for that running game. We'll see what happens. I want to see. I'm kind of excited. I can't wait to see what training camp is going to be for the New York Jets. They picked up an edge rusher late in the round. They picked up Tyler Barron, which the Jets' needs was defensive tackle, safety, and cornerback. They picked up Azare Thomas in round 3. Picked up a wide receiver, Arian Smith, which the fans didn't like because he's a track star with stone hands. Kind of compared him to Stephen Hill. I don't see the things that for me to talk about college football players. I don't watch college football. There's just too many teams to keep a track on. That's a job all to itself. So I'm just gonna go by the experts. They picked up Francisco Margoa in round 5, and the last pick was another DN in round 5, Tyler Barron. The type of draft that I'm seeing here with Aaron Glenn is, there were people. I was telling you guys, I was hoping they would get another stud D tackle to go with Quentin Williams. But the way they drafted, I'm thinking there's a possibility of the 3-4 alignment in defense. A possibility. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. I said there's a possibility that this team could be running a 3-4 defense next season. Could be. Because they got a lot of linebackers, they got a lot of edge rushers who you could convert to a rushing linebacker in a 3-4 system. Aaron Glenn has experience in both systems. So just keep your eye on that. Keep your eye on that. So I'm trying to find out in my notes here, which I wrote a lot of notes for you guys. I want to make sure I was prepared for this podcast. So, yes. There's undrafted free agents for the New York Jets. They did pick up a quarterback, Brady Cook. Most likely going to be a practice squad quarterback. They still got Jordan Travis on the team. God knows when he's going to even appear on the team. He's been injured. They picked up another defensive back, another running back, another defensive end. They got another Fatorma Mulba, DN defensive tackle. I need somebody out of those undrafted free agents to give me a Wayne Corbett performance and end up in the starting lineup for the New York Jets. That's what I'm looking for in this. That's what I'm freaking looking for. For me, I may be in the minority, but I definitely feel good about this team. I feel good about the coaching staff. I feel for once they have a direction, a firm direction to go about changing the culture of the franchise and leading the New York Jets into becoming a winning team again. I truly believe that. Some people, there's fans that may not agree with me. I'm gonna tell you straight out, I truly believe, both teams, both New York teams, I feel I would give them a grade of a B- in their draft. B- both for both teams. Can't give them a B or B+. Definitely not an A, but it is what it is. Now let's talk about playoff basketball because I haven't even done my buddy Matt. I have to get him on the show. Got to get him on the show to talk about New York Knicks basketball as we going to see them possibly close out the series on Tuesday. Tonight. Quite possibly close the series. Very tough series, very physical series against the Detroit Pistons. Very physical. I was worried about the series because the Pistons did beat them 3-1 during the regular season, but this team stepped up. Jalen Brunson, game 4 was lights out. Hurt his ankle in the third quarter, which I was worried about. I wasn't watching the game. I was out. I was on a date, so don't judge me. I actually thought the game was at 3 o'clock, but don't judge me again. All right. But on that note, yes, Jalen Brunson dropped 32 points. We thought this team was going to lose that game, come back to massacre, going for a pivotal game 5. This team found a way to win. Fourth quarter, big shots by Karl Anthony Towns, big shots by Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter. Karl Anthony Towns hits a fadeaway from behind goes behind the basket, hits that shot. Then he hits a 39-footer to really cement the lead for the New York Knicks. Still, you got to get your Rolaids out for the New York Knicks. You know, they're like the Mets. The all blue and orange teams, you got to get your Rolaids out, get your Tums out. They're going to give you some angina, some indigestion, because they're going to put you through the ringer and then finally win the game. That's what they do. Contributions, Anunoby's defense, Anunoby and Bridges' defense. This is why the Knicks wanted to put those two guys together. Was this series right here? Be able to cover the wings. I'm gonna put it out there. So I don't want to put an if. When the Knicks get to Boston, those wing defenders, OG and Miles Bridges, are going to be tested. They're going to be tested. They're playing against the defending world champions. They're going to be tested. And I would love to see how they're going to respond to it. I really do. I really do. But there's certain points, especially in game 2, that I felt that Jalen Brunson at times falls in love with the 3-point shot. He wants to do the big dagger. Sometimes you gotta wait till the 3 shot is absolutely necessary to take. You get to get the easy bucket, get the 2-pointer, and go from there. But there was a controversial ending to that basketball game where Josh Hart did foul Tim Hardaway Jr. on that 3-point shot. For everybody who wants to complain about that, let me tell you something. I got one for you. Charles Smith, 1993, Game 5. That's all I'm saying. You won't give the Knicks back that. We're not going to give back this game either. Okay? So Jamie Bickerstaff, just deal with it. Your team had a double-digit lead in this game and lost the basketball game. Okay? On your home court. You lost both games on your home court. And he has done a great job with this team, though. Give credit where credit is due. He has done a great job with the Detroit Pistons this year. You can't knock him for that. You cannot. But time for the Knicks to close out this series. Close out the series, move on to Boston, and see where we go from there. I'm not putting no negativity out in these streets about the New York Knicks. Let's get to the next round. That's it. That's it. I want to mention before I end this podcast, I want to mention something here. Going back to Shedeur. The leaks. How Jeff Ulbrich, the former New York Jet head coach, former New York Jet defense coordinator, how the hell you let your son get into your iPad to get the phone number of Shedeur Sanders to prank him? That's unprofessional. The Giants did the same exact shit. Let someone get their hands on that kid's phone, get that kid's phone number, and then start pranking calls on them. You can't be doing that shit. That's unprofessional. Unprofessional. And that can't happen. At all. That cannot happen. So like I said, guys, I can't wait for the game. Game 4. Knicks close this shit out. Move on to the next round. I can't wait, guys. And don't just be patient with us. We're gonna do our definitely WrestleMania recap. WrestleMania recap with Joey G. Possibly this Thursday or Friday, we will be on to discuss WrestleMania. Both nights, not just one night, both nights. So I'll let you guys know when that podcast will happen. Hope for all you guys to join us. So it's your man Big Dom about to sign off on this podcast. Any feedback, comments, and complaints, definitely hit me on my email, trueplayerspodcast@gmail.com. TRUPLAYAZ@gmail.com. Any feedback, comments, hit me up on there. You can watch this podcast on YouTube and also listen to it on Spotify. follow me on both. I'm trying to improve, try to get my subscribers up so I can give you guys consistent content. Because you guys don't follow me, how can I give you consistent content? All right. So if it's your man Big Dom about the time of this podcast, hit you up on the next episode. Have a great evening. Peace.